Conversations, and you're welcome to it. If it's your first time here, feel free to hit the like and to subscribe. Thank you all so much for your support. As always, we are here for another live stream topic, and today's topic is going to be about children and allowing children to have a childhood and to be kids and be themselves, especially nowadays with kids just growing up way too fast because of society, social media, the entertainment world, peer pressure. So many things make kids feel like they have to grow up faster than they need to. But really, it's a parent or a caregiver's responsibility to make sure that kids get to be kids. You got to let kids be themselves. And I even see now parents have to show children how to be children because the clothing, how things are set up in school, kids really don't know what it's like to be a child. For me or those who are older, it's easy for us to remember a time where kids actually played in the street and did those kid things like jumping rope and playing those kid games like tag and volleyball, all of that stuff, and kids actually playing with Barbie dolls or dolls or just kid items, letting kids go to the movies and have fun. But I what inspired today's podcast and conversation really was I saw a video from a content creator, and this is kind of me going into it, how I felt about it, because I saw in the video that this was a parent that had multiple children, but they were putting so much pressure on the kid to help with their younger siblings. And I do understand that part, that everybody in the household has to chip in and help. But really, is it a child's responsibility to take care of their siblings? I do think that a lot of parents and siblings and other people in the family put a lot of pressure on older children to take care of the younger siblings or younger cousins or other people in the family, help with kids and all of that. And I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think that's a good thing. I do think that there are things to learn to teach children to be responsible, to pick up after themselves, to do all of the things that they need to do. But also at the same time, you have to let children have a childhood and have that fun, because this time can never be repeated again for a child. A kid only gets to be a child for what, you get 18 years of your life to be a child, and then after that it's all about responsibilities. But parents' job is to make sure that children have a childlike environment. And, you have to curate that for your children, parents, caregivers, aunties, uncles, brothers, and sisters. You got to curate those for the younger ones so that they can have that sort of childhood. You have to allow children to laugh and to play and to be silly and to get messy, just go outside and have fun. And I know that things aren't like it used to be back in the day. I understand that. Things aren't like when I was younger, but also at the same time, there's things that you can do for your children that are free. It doesn't cost money to take a child to the park or on a walk or a hike, to have those silly days and to have the time for movies. But spend time with your children, find out what they like to do, what are they interested in, and let a child be a child. I think that it's so strange to me when I see a child grow up so fast. And we have to stop letting children grow up faster than they appear to be. You have to allow a child to be who they are, and that's a little boy or a little girl. And in some areas, children are under too much pressure to grow up. They're given too much too fast. They're dressed too grown too fast. So there's nothing for them to look forward to, like I see little girls dressing in clothes like they're little women, and I see little boys dressed in clothes like they're little men. And a lot of social media thinks that it's funny and cute to make a little girl look like a grown woman until they start getting grown woman attention. So you got to think about all of those things when it comes to your kids. You have to let them have a childhood. And I can say, coming from that space of not having much of that, I got some things like I was allowed to go outside and play, but I know I grew up having way too much responsibility being young and taking care of other people in my family and doing all of those things that adults are supposed to do. And I get it about teaching kids about responsibility, but there's going to be plenty of time for children to get into that space of being a grown woman or a grown man. Let kids be kids. Let them run about and play and laugh. Let them have those kid times where they're being silly and running around and playing and discovering. So it's really the parent or the caregiver's responsibility to give kids those things, like taking them to museums and things where they can learn and explore about science and nature, and being around other kids to teach them social skills and learning how to handle difficult situations. And maybe when things happen, that's when you can have those conversations and teach your children, yeah, that may not have been right, but maybe this was a better way you could have dealt with the situation. We can't expect for these little kids to be mini adults, because they're not. Give kids a little boy haircut, a little girl hairdo, make them dress in age appropriate clothing. So much things that I've seen on social media that has gone it's way out of control. Seeing little girls with fake eyelashes on, and they have the fake hair all the way past their tush, and you got the little boys dressed like a grown man, and in the grown man's clothes, and everybody thinks it's so funny and cute and adorable until that child starts acting out like an adult. Because when you start treating them, dressing them, giving them the responsibilities of an adult, but then trying to clip their wings and say you're being too fast and being too grown, you really confuse the children. And I understand that a lot of parents that, I think the majority of parents, that they're just doing the best that they can when it comes to raising their children. But we have to also think about, what is my child good at? That's a part of being a good parent, recognizing that every child is different and not comparing them to the other. No, a child doesn't have to be like their older sibling. Celebrate your child's individuality. Ask them, what are the things that they want to do? What do they like? Because that is what's going to help them to be a functional, good member of society, and not a drain and a strain. Because if from your childhood you were treated as an adult and had adult responsibilities by the time you get to be an adult. You're trying to go backwards. And I see it all over. I see it in social media and in day-to-day life. People who are living out their childhood because they never got to have one. So, you don't want to be one of those parents that have the regret of not allowing your child to be, silly and have fun and go out with friends. Let your children have friends and go out and do things and let them watch TV, but even that is something that you have to put a cap on. And I know that things are different from what it was back in the day. That's all there is now is gadgets, electronic devices. But as a parent, caregiver, you have to limit that. That yes, let them have their fun and play and watch their movies, but give them a time limit. Okay, now it's time for us to get out and get your children into activities, because I'm seeing more and more that younger children are not even overweight. They're obese, even morbidly obese, because all the children are doing now is sitting on social media, watching TV, playing video games, and they don't have anything that stimulates their mind. They're not involved in any artistic activities like drawing and writing and painting and things like that, or just being outside and doing those childlike games. Maybe if your children don't know about those things, or children that it could not, maybe you're a person that doesn't even have children, but you can also pour into our youth and be a good role model. Maybe it's your nieces or nephews or your cousins or your siblings, but we can all be good members of society and teach children to be kids and teach them some of the games that you played when you were younger. Bring back some of those things, but it also takes good, responsible, mature parenting. Not just how you were raised, but a healthier way of being, teaching your kids social skills and communicating about things, and not always being taught that they have to keep everything inside and you're soft, or you're this, and you shouldn't cry because you're a boy, or little girls have to do this or have to. No, don't scar your children because of what you've been through in your past. As adults, we have to be good role models and unlearn the toxicity and teach our kids healthier ways so that they can be good members of society. Thank you all so much for tuning into today's conversation and podcast. This is the Marlene Saunders Show, where we have real talk, real conversations, and you're welcome to it. And we will most definitely tap back in on Monday for a new podcast conversation. Make sure to subscribe if you're new here, and I most definitely will tune in on the next one.